Good morning, everybody. Today's date is the 17th of November and the time is 10 to 12. It's Dee here, and I am going to be looking at the astrology of this week. So, first of all, I just wanted to sort of recap a little on last week and things that have been happening. And for me in particular, Wednesday last week was the nightmare day in terms of Mercury retrograde and travel and such like. So Wednesday is the Mercury day, so therefore, that was always going to be a bad day. And then added to that, you had the moon in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So we had that as well. And I had to travel quite a way to go to an event for work, and it took me forever to get there. We had cows on the line, we had flooding, I had to be diverted, you name it, everything went down last week. And it follows my theory that always the first of the last weeks of Mercury retrograde are the swines, because particularly the last week, things start to grind before we finally hit the forward button, and then we can start to gain momentum once more. So yes, I shall be very glad to see the back of this particular Mercury episode, and looking forward to some more successful travel in the next few weeks, of which I do a lot. So very much dependent on my good friend Mercury, my ruling planet, in terms of my sun, to be able to get me there and in reasonably one piece, should I say. So yes, not exactly the best for travelling around, and say hampered particularly by the weather that's been occurring here in the UK, with lots and lots of rain, causing massive problems, and obviously fits into all the Taurus and Uranus stuff about climate change and what's been happening. And in Australia they've had massive fires this week, so for them to see the effects of climate change, and hopefully people's consciousness starting to be raised, and to look at that Uranus piece, to look at where we can help our environment to be better, and to start to take care of our planet a little bit better, so that we don't end up with these horrible weather patterns that cause disruption, whether by fire, by flood, tsunamis, hurricanes, whatever it happens to be. So yes, so examples there of the Uranus in Taurus causing us to think again about what we're doing, and obviously this is a long-term piece for us, but it will hit sharp reality at certain times when Uranus hits planets unfixed, which obviously it is at the moment, and next Sunday it will be doing so when it hits Mars moving into Scorpio, but we'll come to that in a little bit. So the first event of this week, breathing a massive sigh of relief, Mercury finally moving forward tomorrow. So all those things that have been slowed down, not happening, frustrations, interruptions. I mean, I particularly say with being a Gemini, and I'm sure anybody who has a strong Gemini or strong Virgo rule, you certainly feel the frustration when it comes to your ruling planet playing silly buggers, and making things be delayed and not happen. I mean, there are lots of goods about Mercury going backwards, and I'm, being a little bit silly with this, but certainly in terms of a day-to-day practicality, it can cause real frustration when it comes to trying to get things done, trying to get places, trying to, get your message across to people. Obviously it slowly starts to move forward, and it will still be in its shadow for a couple of weeks, so it won't really get past its previous position until we get into December. But certainly we will start to begin to see the signs of hope when it comes to getting things done, and say just ironing out those niggles and making sure our communication is straight and, you know, not being misinterpreted along the way. And sort of everything sort of seems to be happening in quick succession this week, and you can feel sort of momentum of change, and particularly on Tuesday when you have got Mars finally moving into Scorpio. So during Scorpio season, which is ruled by Mars, we have had Mars in its detriment place in Libra. So it's been sort of looking to its ruler for assistance to try and get things done, try and move things forward, and it's not been getting very far because Mercury in Libra's just been dithering around, as Mercury in Libra kind of does, trying to please everybody all of the time. And also getting into its passive-aggressive mode. You get a lot of that with Mars in Libra too. So it's kind of, the sun in Scorpio is breathing a kind of sigh of relief as the communication planet Mercury is making the messages go through, and Mars is ensuring that they get there quickly and efficiently. So things that have not been going right for you, things that have not been moving forward for you, you can finally get a shift on this week. So if you can wait for sort of like the other shoe to drop, for things to be in place, this week you will start to see that happening. And obviously for myself, I am Moon in Scorpio in a night chart, so the moon is my main person in the sky, because obviously when you're born at night the moon is in charge of the sky, and during the day the sun is in charge of the sky. So for me that Mars is very important, as well as that Mercury. So I am looking forward to things starting to move successfully forward. I know definitely from a work perspective there's been lots of stuff that I've been trying to get into place which have just constantly been hitting snags and niggles, and those are due to actually come to fruition this week. So I'm hoping that with a bit of help from Mercury and a bit of help from Mars, that they will actually finally get successfully completed. And look to your own life as well, where these things might happen. Look to which planet, which house your Scorpio hits. Say for me that is the 10th, which is my house of career, which explains why I'm having so much trouble with work-related things. So yes, it'll be nice to kind of get things moving along a little bit with that Mars finally being in a place that it likes to be, which is in Scorpio. So the piece about sort of self-analysis and looking deep within yourself, which Mercury brought to us, obviously that will continue as Mercury stays in Scorpio for a little while longer, but it just means rather than just thinking about things, you can actually act upon them and get things done. So if you've been contemplating a lot about how you want things to change and how you want things to be going forward in your relationships or in your work life, or depending on where Scorpio falls for you, then you can start to see things, finally move forward. And I don't know why in my head I think of those old-fashioned big steam trains with the wheels going round and slowly picking up speed and gathering momentum. It feels like that to me when Mercury moves forward, and certainly when Mars kind of gets into gear again, that we could kind of like see those pistons turning and finally gain some traction and getting that forward momentum going on. So I'm very much looking forward to that this week. Just finally get things sorted and get things done. And then moving on from that, you've got on the 22nd of November, the sun moves into Sagittarius. So we have, even though we're going to have the planets in Scorpio, Mercury and Mars for the moment still there, this starts the ball rolling for things moving into Sag, and getting that one last hit of Jupiter juice, so before the Jupiter changes sign into Capricorn. So if you are looking for those fun and adventure bits, those kind of bits where you want to sort of go out on a limb a little and going off and have an adventure. The silly season is upon us in Sagittarius, and you can get things going in that respect. So look at where Sagittarius is for you. If you use whole sign houses like I do now, then that will be the first day of Sagittarius will be a new house. For me, that is in 11 for me. So friendships and groups and doing things for the community. So that sort of area of my chart is highlighted. Have a look at where that is for you. What things are you likely to encounter coming up to holiday season, coming into the season of celebrations and excess very much, which Sagittarius certainly rules, but Jupiter rules. You always find with people with a strong Jupiterian flavour to their chart, so anybody with Sun, Moon, rising in Sagittarius, or people with Sun Jupiter conjunction, Moon Jupiter conjunction, things like that, they certainly have the ability to be excessive, whether that be in their exaggerated language sometimes or their exaggerated behaviour. They want things to be writ large and big, and as we say, as we go into that kind of season, it always feels that way, that it's about the the parties and the having fun and the sort of letting off the kind of Saturn breaks a little in terms of work and just enjoying yourself, being part of family celebrations, general holidays. So I mean, there are a lot of religious holidays this time of year, whether that be Diwali or Hanukkah or Christmas. We're moving into that kind of time where we are celebrating and being with family, and just whether it's food is your excess or whether that's going out and having a few more drinks than you would usually have. That is definitely the flavour of Sagittarius season. So have a look at where Sagittarius falls for you. What are you going to be enjoying the fun and frivolity? Is it in a house that indicates that will be the case, or is it more likely that you are a person who doesn't enjoy this kind of time of year? And there is lots of those as well. I mean, for some people, holiday season can be awful, and just as a reminder of what you don't have, or difficult past times with family, or maybe feeling on your own, feeling isolated and feeling like you should be enjoying yourself, and that everybody else is having a better time than you, and that can be quite tricky for some people. So if you are one of those people, then don't believe the Instagram photos, don't believe the adverts or the telly. Not everybody's families are perfect. Not everybody's going out and having a fantastic time. Some people, really struggle at this time of year, or, just want to be quiet, and that's perfectly fine as well. And I think that we have to keep a hold of, because say Jupiter exaggerates, it makes things bigger than it actually is. And, not, it isn't the picture perfect world out there. Every family has arguments, every party can end up with somebody throwing up or misbehaving, or photocopying the bum on the photocopier or whatever it is. It's not all swanky dresses and champagne. It's there is a downside of it too. So always keep your reins on the Sagittarius head, your Sagittarius head, because it can take you too far, and so that's one of the problems of Jupiter, is that it can get too inflated and get too silly and giddy with things. So while you can enjoy yourself, always be mindful of the fact that there's you still got to get up in the morning and still got to get back to reality at some point. And that doesn't have to be, when the sun goes into Capricorn in the middle of December and we finally all quieten down again, and go into the sad, I'm never going out again, I've spent too much money kind of thing. So if you are careful, you will still have money left for January, and you don't have to having a stinking hangover for the rest of the month. So enjoy, but always keep a rein on those things if you can. And then on to the weekend. And the weekend is really interesting. There is two fantastic aspects going on, very big aspects for everybody. And I'm going to start with talking about the Mars opposition Uranus. So you've got Mars in Scorpio, opposition Uranus in Taurus. And so you've got these fixed signs, and Mars that likes to shake things up, and he is Mr. War, he's Mr. Energy, he is, ready for a fight at any available opportunity. And then you've got Uranus, which rules the revolution, it rules change. So you've got these two opposing each other, and, Uranus is unpredictable. Anything could happen. It really could. But if you want to sort of look at it from not just a sort of wider perspective, in that something might come out of the blue in terms of news, or and sudden event could, because obviously it can rule explosions, it can rule earthquakes, it can rule any kind of like massive unpredictable weather, with Uranus being in Taurus. So it could be something like that could kick off on the world stage. It could be some kind of unexpected piece of news that could change things quite significantly from wherever you are in the world. This Uranus. The one thing about Uranus is you just never know, because it is totally unpredictable. But needless to say, there could be a bomb underneath something, whether that be figuratively or literally, that could cause this weekend to be a lot more dramatic than we maybe once thought. So there is that on the kind of potential on the world stage. But on a personal level, I like to think of this as, again, it's like a wake-up call. It's with these two, it's saying that things have to change. You've got to strike out on your own now. You've got to be free. You've got to break from the past, break traditions, do something that you've never done before. And, the thing about these slow-moving planets is you can feel them coming. If you are sensitive to these things, it's that niggling doubt in the back of your head. It's the conversation that you might have that foreshadowed something. Just little things that that there's something brewing for you that could mean a massive change for you. It could be reading an article about a different country that could spark your imagination, that you might think, oh, I really want to go there, live there, whatever it happens to be. A conversation with a friend about a different direction at work that could spark your interest. It could be, going back to studying. It could be breaking from family. It could be breaking from certain relationships in your life. And what you've got to look out for there is people with particularly around 6-7 degrees of fix. So anybody with strong Taurus, Scorpio, Leo or Aquarius around the 6-degree mark, they could be really hit by this particular aspect. And when anything is in a fixed sign, even when you've got volatile planets like Mars and Uranus, yes, the change will come. Yes, it will be unexpected, but there is a reluctance there. There's always a reluctance to take it on board, even if it's right in front of your nose. It's like these people with strong fix do not like moving. They really do not like moving out of their comfort zone. They like things to remain the same. And, coming at you from an opposition, both angles, this could be like the bullet between the eyes that you weren't expecting, Uranus, that could change things forever, which is Mars, in terms of like energy driving you forward. So anybody with those, be thinking about not necessarily preempting, because you can never preempt Uranus. It always is a bit of a surprise element in there, but certainly pay attention to, unexpected thoughts, unexpected conversations, actions that might be pointing you in the direction of where you need to be. So you've got that, say, shake-up aspect of Mars and Uranus this weekend, and then on top of that you have got the beautiful presence of the two benefics in Jupiter and Venus, who are going to be conjoining together in Sagittarius. So it kind of brings that sweetness to proceedings and gives you hope and faith that everything is going to be okay. So even if they even in the midst of all this sort of change and disruption and unexpectedness, there is a sweetness there that Jupiter and Venus bring, which saying, you know what, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right. You've got to believe, you've got to have faith, trust your relationships, trust in the divine, trust in everything that the human race is, that everything is going to be good. And, this could actually be a change for the better for you. And even though it might feel a bit odd and strange and weird when it first kicks off, once again, that it could bring blessings to you, which is Jupiter and Venus. So yeah, a very interesting week. And for those people who are in the United States who are enjoying their holiday weekend of Thanksgiving, it could be both explosive and wonderful at the same time. So get that getting that bit of both, that kind of pleasure and enjoyment, but maybe a few choice arguments in there as well. But they might have been a long time coming, and it might be the chance to say break that tie, break that deadlock, to move things forward and make things better. So yes, a very interesting week this week, and whichever way you slice and dice it, we are at least moving forward, and that has got to be a bonus. I think, after last week's grind and the last few weeks of Mars not being happy, sat there in Libra, dithering around, not really knowing where to go, we can finally get a push on and make things happen. And, let's make the best of it. Let's, be brave and look to the future and what's different, and, what's the potential out there, that we haven't thought about before and could actually be the best thing that ever happened to us. You never know. Guys, so thank you very much for listening. Have a lovely week. Enjoy it if you are celebrating Thanksgiving. Make the most of it. Make the most of family and that time together. They're the only ones we've got, so we might as well love them and enjoy them, even if they drive us crazy sometimes. For the rest of us, enjoy the start of silly season, party time. Maybe the time to go out and celebrate, take your foot off the brakes a little bit, and enjoy your friends and colleagues and celebrate. But if that time comes when it's you're thinking, yes, it's definitely time to go home, make sure you take note of that, so you're still getting up in the morning in a reasonably good state to begin the work the next day. Okay, take care everybody, speak to you soon.